I invite you to take a moment to listen to a couple parents and their story and the positive changes that they've noticed in working with us and doing the brain detox and focusing on diet and nutrition. I promise you it will be worth your time.
So just share, and it's a process, right? We're not trying to, it's not a sprint. With someone as sensitive as Niles, we know, and better than anyone, that there's certain things that you just can't, really, implement right away, full bore. But tell us maybe some of the things you've noticed that have been beneficial for Niles and your family just since we started working together.
Well, first I want to acknowledge the comment you said that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We had to learn that the hard way. The first 2 years of autism, we did everything the doctors told us. We ran around, we emptied our bank account. And that was, so by the time I hit you, I was like, yeah, but also knowing my child that he appreciates the small steps. So we were able to integrate that into the program and, make some smaller changes just based on his needs. So I want to acknowledge that. As far as changes with Niles, I want to start with the last one that I told you. It was just so funny because if it was not 5 p.m. and dinner was not on the table, he was pissed. But we don't have that. Like, I can wait till 6 to feed him dinner. And it's not like that I do it on purpose. It's just it might not be ready. Sure. And he's okay with it. He might kind of be prowling around the kitchen, but he's more patient. It's been a while since I have seen aggression. I'm trying to remember. I don't think they've really seen any. It was the first day of school, but he hadn't been to school for a while. But it's more from aggressive to I'm trying to control myself. I'm upset because I can't control myself. And again, this is just what I observed, having observed him for 8 years. But we've seen a lot of aggression go down. More patience, more attempts to communicate. Just more... sleeping better too. I think once in a while he might, like once a week maybe, we would have a late night. I don't think we've had a late night for a few weeks now, at least. Fantastic. His poop has been terrible since he'd been born. And they tested him for C. diff twice, and he was negative both times. He's been scoped once, totally normal, worked up by 2 GI doctors, totally normal, despite this diarrhea and random vomiting. But it's been once in a while we would see normal poop and then we would go back to diarrhea. Once in a while and go back. We've had a lot more consistency, and he's not pooping 6 times a day either. And wow. Then with the increased consistency, we've had a lot of decreased anxiety about poop.
Right.
So, and he's not potty trained, but I'm like, we've got to get the boy over the poop anxiety before we can expect him to go.
Sure. Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's phenomenal. Those are some big things. And for you as a mom, what does that mean to you? Seeing those changes and seeing the improvements, with being willing to eat dinner, not necessarily at the same time every day, but being a little bit more relaxed there. The poop thing, less aggression. What does that mean for you and your family?
Well, definitely we can be a little more casual about things. I try not to do things because of autism, like make sure dinner's on the table at 5. But there's some days I don't want to deal with it. So dinner's on the table at 5. But there's less of that for sure. More opportunities. And again, because I try not to do things because of autism, we do try and go out in public more. It's just easier now. He's always been pretty good at playing with his sister. And for me though, I've always said, I'm like, bring on the autism, bring on the stimming, bring it on. But like this aggression, and I think he gets frustrated too, because I believe people are not in their right minds. Like if they were in their right mind, they wouldn't do it. Who wants to hit their mom? Right. So, and I know he gets upset at that too, because I've heard from a lot of other autistic individuals that are severe and can communicate through letterboards that they can't control their bodies. So I'm fairly certain that he does not want to hit his mom. So not that that's been a barrier in a relationship. It's just made it tough. And so it's just nice to have it be calmer. And then, of course, one of the first lessons they learned with autism was fix the sleep problem, and that will fix a lot. Because when we were at the very beginning, when he was 2 and he started not sleeping, oh, it was terrible. And I talked to someone and they were like, fix the sleep. And it did. It fixed a big chunk, but his was just so tired. So I've always been very, very cognizant since that time of like making sure my kid gets the sleep, making sure I give him the opportunity for sleep, because it just helps so much.
Right. Wonderful. No, thank you. Everything you're sharing, I'm sure is going to be so helpful for providing insight for other families, because a lot of people are in situations where they're just scratching their head and they're like, I don't know what to do next, or I don't know how I can help my child in the best way. And I guess for those families and those parents that are out there trying to find a situation, what would you say to them that are potentially looking at, say, doing a brain detox, or doing something that we've done in our office with you? What would be some good recommendations for them?
As far as the brain detox?
Yeah, or those that are considering it, or other things as well.
So the first thought that came to mind was, there have been some therapies that have come up that we've had the opportunity to try, and some we did go through. Usually they were for a very short time. If you feel hesitant about something with your child, hold off, research it more. Don't do it because the doctor told you to. Don't do it because your neighbor told you. But if you feel like this is the next step, if there's something there, if there's something drawing you to that, if it seems like the right fit, I mean, you as a parent, and I think we've talked about this, Jeff, is like, I'm the expert on my child because I've been with him for 8 years. Yeah. Like, you're a wonderful chiropractor, but as far as you know a lot about autism and detox, but you are not the expert. So for me, knowing that this is the next step for my child, that's my job.
Oh yeah.
But I think we need to remove fear out of it and just kind of answer in our hearts, because you know what's next for your child. Nice. And it took me a while to learn that.
Those are some incredible words of wisdom. And I think if people really trusted that mother's intuition in this case is what you're describing, I feel like there's a lot of power there. And I think that's where you'll find the answers, right? And so I love that you said that. I totally agree 100%. When I look at the families I work with and looking at you, I'm just amazed by just your dedication, your sacrifice, and the love that you share for your son and your family. And truly, I'm designed to be, really a part of the team, and not necessarily trying to direct traffic or lead this group, but really I'm grateful just to be, someone that there's on the sideline, I guess, cheering on, and then trying to provide some other solutions and resources, because I know that when we can respect the body and what it is capable of doing, and if we can remove sources of stress, it's amazing how the body can start to function a little bit better. And in this case with Niles, I knew from day one, I was like, okay, this is going to take some time, and I'm just grateful that you are patient and that you realize that, because sometimes that's the hardest part, is being patient through the process. But now looking back, 8 years, and we've been working for a few months, and this was the next step. It's kind of like, okay, we're making progress, we're seeing some changes, and it's okay to be patient in the process. So that's some incredible insight. And because of that wisdom, I know that you work with families of autism as well, because are you more of like a life coach? Is that what you would call it, Gina?
So I mentioned earlier that like everybody wouldn't prescribe or figure out stuff for my son, so I just went and learned it. So I am trained at was it the advanced behavioral, so the music therapy, because I did that for my son. I went and became trained as a play therapist because couldn't get anybody else to do it, so I did that. And then life coaching, I struggled as a parent, so to help myself, I hired a life coach, and I loved it, so I became one.
Cool.
So, and as the life coaching piece, one other thing I wanted to add is I feel like sometimes we get afraid, like, oh, they're not talking, oh, they are not going to the bathroom or whatever, and we want to almost like shut it down. But one thing I've learned in life coaching is really it's those obstacles are the way through. But like with his potty training, if I look and I know him and I know taking him to the bathroom every 5 minutes is just going to piss him off, so I need to figure out another way. But it's those obstacles that are your way through.
Yeah.
But it just might not be how the world tells you. It's your goal to help your child as much as possible. You just have to find the way.
Right. So people that are out there and they're saying, wow, I wish I could have a life coach or, some assistance. I mean, do you have information that you could share with anyone that's watching this that, could get some insight or maybe even contact you?
Sure. So I have a website, Spectrum, like autism spectrum, just Spectrum. It's spectrumlane.com. And then my email is Gina, Gina, at spectrumlane.com.
So spectrumlane.com and then Gina at spectrumlane.com.
Yep.
Cool. Because I know, that's such a crucial piece is being able to help with the lifestyle, with the mindset. The things that you talked about that I picked up too was how you said you try not to treat your son as, autistic in the sense of it doesn't have to be on a schedule, all the time. Why would you suggest that or recommend that? I'm just curious.
Well, so it was kind of part of me is you feel stuck. I can't go out because my son has autism. I can't do this because my son has autism. People think I'm crazy because I'm building my coaching and my photography business right now, but that's something I want to do. And I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, my son has autism, I can't do it. So about 2 years into autism, I was really depressed. And I don't know, I don't remember how it came to me, but I'm like, I need to figure out how to be happy and figure out what I want to do despite my circumstances. My circumstances are here, they're not going anywhere. And figure out how to go get them. And really it's like when you stop resisting and start opening yourself up to all those possibilities that they start appearing.
Awesome.
In fact, you can see my backdrop behind me. This is my studio. It's my front room.
Nice. Hey, you got to do what you can to make things work, right? Being flexible and I love that you're not quitting up on you and what you're passionate about and what you're interested in. And that's huge. So definitely hats off to you, Gina. And of course, again, just to reiterate, hats off to all mothers and fathers that have children with special needs and that are in this battle. And, and that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to really serve these people was, number one, I know this is something that just like you felt you were inspired to do certain things, I felt super inspired to go down this path. And my goal is to help create peace of mind, freedom, and confidence for those autistic children, but also for the families. Because I know serving an autistic child is, in a sense, I'm serving you and your husband and your daughter, as well as we can help improve his lifestyle. He's happier and everyone else can be. And so I'm just grateful to be on this journey with you and for the trust and confidence you give me, and looking forward to continuing down this path.
Yeah, thanks. I'm laughing remembering the time my daughter spit crackers all over your office.
You know what? It's all good. We got vacuums for a reason, right?
Yeah, but she might have gotten him a little lecture.
You know what? Understood. I've got 6 kids, and so there's definitely times when we got to have those talks with our kids as well. So.
Well, the funny thing is my husband did it when he was little. Same thing.
Really?
And never told her that story. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Oh, that's funny. Well, Gina, I really do appreciate your time. And for those that are interested in learning more info about Gina, you got her information, spectrumlane.com. Myself, Dr. Knight, truenorthchiro.com. Now, another question I have is what are some of the major changes you have seen in Ronan since starting this process or this path with me in coming to our office and doing the chiropractic care along with the nutritional supplements and the detox of the brain? Just share some of the things that you guys have noticed over the last while.
Well, he definitely talks more.
Oh yeah.
He talks a lot more. Which was his number one goal.
Yeah.
Just talk. But yeah, he communicates more clearly.
Mm-hmm.
He gets his wants and needs across to us without getting frustrated as much.
Mhm.
If he doesn't know the right words, or if it's not happening enough,
Right.
fast enough, then yeah, he's going to get frustrated, because
So
all kids will do that.
what I have noticed, I don't. She spends more time with him during the day than I do because I work an hour away. So I've noticed that he used to do stuff in like 3s, 6, or 9. So if he asked, he wanted to go somewhere, he wanted to go bye-bye, it was either 3 times 6, 9, whatever. Now, it's not so much. You can actually reason with him a little more. I can ask him to put something in the trash, and he doesn't have that deer in the headlight look.
Or can flat out ignore you.
Or he, like last night, prime example, he's downstairs in his thinking chair. That's what he calls it because he likes Blue's Clues. Mama asked him to go to bed. Let's get up and go upstairs. He flat out told her no.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I told him not to ask me. I've not had to. I've done.
So,
I've only said those words twice to him in his whole life, and they've both been within the last 6 months.
now
Because he's asked me once before.
what she didn't see, and I'm glad you did because that would get me hit. I was laughing upstairs because I could
was
see the
trying
whole
not
thing.
to.
So, but hearing that compared from May 27th when we started the supplement, March. Oh, my bad. I like May for some reason. Oh yeah, March. From March 27th till recent, I can't put a measure on what the changes I've seen. From talking to understanding to, are you ready for this? Walking in Walmart without having to have a death grip on his hands.
Yeah.
And him trying to escape. The Houdini-ness has slowed way down.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's a big thing for me, is his safety. That's Mama's number one priority.
right.
Keep the boy safe.
And he didn't try to get out anymore. He understands. Doesn't always agree.
Right.
But he knows.
Right.
He doesn't try to hit his sister all the time if she gets within 150 million feet of him. You know, so.
He doesn't actively go after her.
No, and I have video of them sharing an iPad.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting over it. They're playing hide and go seek. They're playing tag. They're some animal game where they're yelling and roaring at each other.
They're playing together.
Right.
And that was a big hurdle.
Because did they play together before?
No.
No. It was mostly
World War II.
Taylor saying, "Hey Ronan, let's go do this," and he'd smack her, "Get out of my face. I don't want to be by anybody right now." All the time.
So
it's
the
good for her
Yeah.
to be able to play with a big brother, you know?
Right.
And then some of the other things is family functions. Unless he's sick. He used to sit by himself, have a phone and play. Now he wants to interact.
Nice.
So he didn't know it's like waiting his turn, but we're working on it, you know? I've seen so much. It's hard to put in from my point of view and her point of view. I mean, we could spend hours, you know? It's definitely made our life, and more so his, a lot easier.
That's wonderful.
A lot more safe, you know?
Or
Relaxed.
typical.
Yeah, be atypical, but
Don't want to say normal or average.
Sure. Because every family's got some unique challenges, right?
Right.
But
So,
that's
but it's just, you got to find and believe and trust your judgment and go forward.
right. So what would you guys say, Lance and Erika, to someone considering, this as a possible option for care for their child? The brain detox that we're doing, or chiropractic care, the neurological integration system that we've used. What would be maybe some tips or insights that you would give a parent, considering this?
Do it.
Okay.
Do it. And I am currently working with a lady at work. I can't remember if it's her sister or her brother, but they have a kid who's, I think, a year older than Ronan. So he's 11. He's not potty trained. The controversy is she wants to put him in a home and let somebody else deal with him. He went to school to understand and works with autism children now on all spectrums. And she's slowly coming around. But talking to her it's hard. I mean, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
That's right.
So.
No, it is tough. And you know what? The thing I admire about you two is, just like you said, Lance, already, be willing to try anything. And you guys had that mindset of being open and recognizing, you know what, why not give this a chance? And especially, having the premise of, what we talk about is, how can we remove the interference that's creating the stress in the body, and then let the body do the work, right? And that's really what we're doing, right? Is giving Ronan some tools. And I'm so grateful that you guys have had that trust and confidence and let me serve you, because, I love your family and love you guys, and just feel honored to serve. And so I know it can be tough though, because Ronan was 9 when I first met him. And if you think of from the time he was 4 months old until 9, that's a long amount of time to spend trying to find answers. And there's so many parents like you that are just really doing the best they can. And so I do honor, respect you, and just your family is, your children are so blessed to have you guys. So you guys deserve the credit more than anyone else for what Ronan's doing and the changes he's making. And so I just want to make sure that everyone that listens to this is aware of that.
Well,
we've had great help and support.
Yeah. So Erika took off 4.5 years from work. And I honestly think the key to get us to the point where we're at now is Erika and Miss Jenny.
As preschool teacher.
His preschool teachers
She
found a way to unlock something that has brought us to this point. But it has to be a team effort.
Oh, yeah.
And without a team effort, if you you can never lose what your goal is. My goal is different from her goal, but we're still doing the same thing. Just I have what I want. The overall is for him to be society norm.
Sure.
Okay.
I want him to be healthy and smart and strong and safe and loved his entire life.
But the most important thing, besides, in my opinion, this is just me, besides all the work that you do and the work that we do, means nothing if you're ashamed of them.
Right.
You cannot let them think that. And
meeting has been upgraded by host and now includes unlimited minutes. Well, thank you.
So signing is a prime example to help ease until you figure out what it is. Because he used to just point and grunt, and we would spend 15 minutes looking in the cabinet going, this, and finally, when we saw his arms flap, from stemming, we knew that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went as far as, what was Lexi? Anna. We hired a babysitter that was not only Alexa. She was not only first aid, but she knew ASL.
She was training to be an ASL interpreter.
Right. So we used her, which was my boss's daughter, just so me and her could go out and go, okay, we are parents, but we're people too.
Yes.
Right. Have a meal without children.
Right. And
Once in a while.
there's different steps. You can do it and do it and do it, but you got to remember you're people too.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it works. I mean, Ronan, I don't know why, but that's my shadow.
Yeah.
You know, and I give Taylor more in some areas, and Ronan gets some areas. So you got to find an equal balance, and that's hard because there's always going to be one of them that's, if you have multiple kids, that are going to be, how come he can do this and I can't? Well, you can't say, well, he's older, because theoretically, yes, age he is, but everything else, not so much. So she gets a little bit more freedom than he does, and then vice versa. But not being ashamed of him and making sure you spend time with everybody. You got to set that time, because believe it or not, parents need that too.
Yes.
They need to know. So, well, I got way off topic.
No,
Yeah,
this is
Yeah.
great.
So my thing is that God has put us in this place at this time for a specific reason. He had us in Las Vegas at that time for a specific reason. He had us in Texas at a certain time for a certain reason. In each one of those places, there have been healing instruments and healing people, you know, in our lives that have enriched our life for Ronan, leading us up to being here in Utah with Dr. Jeff and on this program now. So everything has happened
For a reason.
For a reason, and in the right sequence, I think. So we're continuing a path that
And
we
where
started.
that path leads us to, only Ronan knows.
I'm up for it.
Yeah. And
See what happens.
and you have to be. And I don't want to put a damper on this, but married people, the statistics are high that have special needs in the divorce area.
Right.
And you have to be committed.
You gotta be a
We're
team.
done here, sweetie. We're talking to Dr. Jeff. Give us a minute, okay?
Just say that.
Yeah.
So, but it's like I said, it's a team effort.
Indeed. Yep.
Here, speaking of team, go ahead and say hi to.
Just say that.
Hey, Taylor. How's it going?
Good.
It's good to see you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we're talking about you and Ronan.
Ooh.
So, but another side note is Taylor is younger than Ronan. That's just so everybody else can know. But she watches over him. She helps him speak, do things, incorporates him into things. So.
But he's not any different.
No.
Because he's all that she's known. You know, that's my big brother. That's Ronan. She isn't, you know, he's not any different. But then there's sometimes that she'll ask, well, why does Ronan do that? Or why doesn't Ronan do this? I'm like, well, you know what? It's because Ronan's brain works just a little bit differently than yours. So it's going to either take a couple more minutes for him to understand, or it might take a few months for him to understand for, you know, whatever reason, you know.
But we don't.
Oh, okay, his brain works different. Okay.
But we don't.
Big deal.
We don't go into the. We let him know, you know, the difference. And here comes the boy.
I hear him coming down the
He's
stairs.
coming down the
singing.
stairs. He's singing too. So, but that's the most important thing is think inside the box, outside the box, over the box, under the box.
Forget about the box.
Just erase the box.
There's Ronan.
And here's the star of the show.
Who's that?
Hey, Ronan.
Can you say hi to Dr. Jeff?
Dr. Jeff.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
He
doesn't know what to do with himself.
He's like, I'm not to see it. So, what is that?
A thinking chair.
Thinking chair.
The thinking chair, nice.
from Blue's Clues. So he's got a chair similar. We just haven't done the red yet. And we got Taylor one too. So,
Great.
but
Well, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you taking time this evening. And
House.
awesome, Ronan.
House.
And I think the information you shared is definitely going to be helpful. And I'll definitely be sharing this with others. So, but thanks again. You guys are great, and appreciate your inspiration, and all that you're doing for your family is definitely an example to me. So